Good afternoon. Um, we are very happy to welcome to our next edition of Unfolding Geopolitics. We're happy to welcome Dr. Tanachiet Pesaijon, who is a professor of who understands the borderlands and in the Thai region, not just Cambodia, Thailand, uh, and Laos, but he's also started looking at borders on the other side of Thailand with India. And Thanachayat has been watching very closely the unfolding issues on the Thai-Cambodia border. He is somewhat of an expert on this subject, and we're very lucky to have you. So welcome. Welcome, Thanachayat.
Oh, yes. Welcome. Thank you for having me here. And I think the Embassy of India has introduced this to you. So I'm
That's
very
right.
pleased. And I have met with His Excellency Nagesh Singh quite a few times. So he's a very nice person indeed. So
Yes, he is. He's an excellent diplomat. So thank you very much for that. So let's jump right into it. There are two contesting narratives in the current conflict. One is about the sovereignty, the territorial rights of the archaeological sites, and the other is more modern. It's on the interests of the power elites of both countries. What, according to you, are the roots of the present Thai-Cambodia border contestation?
in my opinion, the Thai-Cambodian border conflict, especially around the archaeological sites like Previhere or Danmentom Castle, is emblematic of a deeper and layered contestation rooted in three key issues. Firstly, is a colonial cartography remains in the bedrock of the dispute, and the French drawn maps, accepted at times under the pressure of ambiguity, have left both sides with different interpretations of sovereignty. And these maps continue to be politically instrumentalized, used not just to define land, but also ignite nationalism. And second, I think it's about the political use of history and heritage, which is to strike the other side of the land. And the temples become more than just spiritual or archaeological sites. They are powerful nationalist symbols. When domestic legitimacy of governments of either side wanes, these symbols are used or reignited to rally support domestically. And third, we cannot ignore the interest of the military and political elites. And the border is not only the line of the map, but also a lucrative space for timber, informal trade, underground trade, and patronage networks along the border. And the elites, not only the elites in the central government, but I mean the elites along the border province have historically benefit from, the trade, the smuggling, and control over cross-border flows. So the conflict is not purely about territory. It's also about who controls access, movement, and memory. And that's the background, the general background. Let me be more specific on this case. Actually, I have told you that in the politics between Thailand and Cambodia, not only Thailand and Cambodia, but also in Southeast Asia, it remains very elitist, and a lot of wars in the past, the elites control the narrative. And when there are contestation, it's the elites who have to go and cross the border to talk. If they can settle their benefit, the disputes seem to be settled. That's always the case. And this kind of conflicts can be seen clearly in the case of Thailand and Cambodia during the past 20 years, or even 30 years, or even 75 years of the decolonization of Cambodia. It remains very elite oriented. This time also, the family of the Thai Prime Minister and the family of Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet and his father Hun Sen is closely connected and has long relationship with the Shinawatra family. That's the case for this one.
This is really, as you say, it's a very complex situation with multiple threads running through it. what has happened just now is that the present ceasefire has kind of frozen the conflict, right? It's stalled the conflict, but the dispute has not been resolved. And what do you think, in your view as an expert, are the 2 or 3 bilateral political ways or mechanisms to resolve the conflict so that it doesn't, or maybe it's just more likely to be a continued prolonged status quo?
Let me explain this way. I will provide you as the audience. Some audience might not be familiar with the case study of Thailand and Cambodia, so I will provide the general background first. And this kind of prolonged status quo is indeed a tempting option for both sides, especially when domestic political climates are unstable. But this thesis is unsustainable. Villagers and peoples on the ground must live amidst mines, landmines and soldiers, and unresolved grievance fester. However, there are 3 possible political avenues that I can foresee. Firstly, is the reviving of the Joint Boundary Commission, which is JBC, which is a bilateral mechanism agreed upon, but often stalled. If depoliticized, this can be a platform for technical work, including resurveying or demining based on shared interest. And the JBC is one of the 3. We have three mechanisms. JBC is Joint Boundary Commission. We have GBC, General Boundary Commission, and we have RBC, Regional. And I think these 3 are similar. It's different because the state officers are at different level. The Joint Boundary, the people who are at the provincial levels, and the GBC is the military officers of both countries who go and talk, and the RBC at the ministerial officers. And I think the GBC would be held in a couple of days. First, it is planned to be held in Cambodia, but is proposed to be relocated to Malaysia. And I think it's the first mechanism. Second, I think it's about the cultural and heritage cooperation framework, which is supported by UNESCO, could allow both countries to co-manage dispute temples, even though I must stress, even though this is seemed to be, a long way from now. 4 months ago, it would be the topic that could not be ignored. But now, as the conflict continues, this is a long way to go. However, I must keep this in mind that this should come back in the future. It's about the cultural and heritage cooperation framework, and even though I have to stress that it doesn't solve sovereignty issue per se, but it still builds trust and shifts the discourse from rivalry to share stewardship if it's used in the right way and right direction. Because now, during the past years, it has been used in the wrong. Seem to be conflictual ways of perceiving cultural heritage. And thirdly, and this is important because, in my opinion, because I have been in the border provinces, local actors and local cross-border dialogues, have been very strong during the past 10 years. There have been talk, and borderland communities are often more pragmatic than capital elites. I used to believe that allowing local leaders, traders, and monks, even monks, and people, patients from Cambodia cross the border, used to cross the border to the hospital in the provincial hospital in Thailand. Sadly enough, when the conflicts broke out, even though despite the close relationship between the local governors and local state officers, all the cross-border routes have to be shut down by the decision of the central government by this time. And yeah, this is what I think about the general background and of the conflict. To be more specific for this issue, I think during the past 2 days, even though last week, we had like ASEAN as a mediator. The Prime Minister of Cambodia and the acting Prime Minister of Thailand went to Cambodia to call for a ceasefire. And even though the ceasefire was announced, still violation continue for a few hours, for half a day. And we still hope that a truce, even though ceasefire, would continue, because 2 days already, because on the Cambodian side, I believe yesterday they invited the military attaché from 10 countries, no, 13 countries, to visit the battlefield, the theater of the war. So the ceasefire could be witnessed on the Cambodian side. Today in Thailand, I think 23 or 24, 23 military attachés have been invited to visit the field that a grocery and the supermarket at the petrol station has been attacked, in which 7 or 8 people have been killed. These include young children in the family, and also the hospital has been attacked as well. So the military attachés have been invited to see the real venues for themselves. So I believe during the past days and I feel in these days, today and maybe tomorrow, ceasefire will be witnessed. And this is the first step from the ASEAN attempt for the mediation attempt, and also the witness from different countries, at least could be one step, one threshold to a prolonged peace, even though that seems to be far away, in my opinion, right now.
And the mediation is being done by ASEAN, of course, but who else is in the fray? Which are the other countries with a real interest in ensuring that this does not, blow up? I know U.S. President Trump says that he has done some work, but apart from that, the Asian regions, who else has been thinks of themselves as being an honest mediator?
At the meeting in Kuala Lumpur, I believe there was a witness from the US side and also from China as well. And in my opinion, I think Cambodia is trying to bring the case to the platform of international states. So the countries, the military attachés from different countries who are invited to the site would be at least in a kind of informal mediators as well, because Cambodia must try, and I think both sides try to control the narrative that they are right in this kind of gunfight exchange, and they have to present themselves as justification to use force. You have the right to protect yourself in the UN Charter, so they have to tell the world on their side, on their narrative, that they have the right, and it's justified for using force and for using weapons at the right moment, at the right amount, and at the right spots. Yeah, military targets, and the amount of the gunfire and the bombs are equivalent to the scene. Yet they have to provide this kind of narrative, and it's not only ASEAN, it's international stage, international communities who should be the witnesses of this scene.
So you brought in ASEAN. To what extent does ASEAN have an impact on the current crisis? You said that Cambodia, Thailand both went to Kuala Lumpur. So what role has ASEAN specifically played in this dispute resolution?
I have to recall the time of my students. We were taught, I mean, many university students, we were taught that ASEAN's, even though was 20 years ago, ASEAN was described as a paper tiger. They could not do anything concretely, because there are two norms of ASEAN, which is first one, non-intervention of others, of the members' domestic affairs, and others there must be like consensus if they want to do anything. But years past, there have been attempts to make some kind of development to, if there's like violence in the domestic politics of the members, there could be some kind of constructive engagement. And I think this kind is a good attempt, even though I could not see a concrete, maybe, yeah, in a way of constructive engagement. At least Cambodia is trying to show the world that they really follow the direction of what has been suggested and recommended by ASEAN, even though it's doubted that ASEAN really works or not. This kind is, yeah, it's a good step. Ceasefire have been witnessed for quite a few days already, despite some kind of violation in the scene, like a few hours.
Right. So ASEAN, you feel, is playing a positive role.
Yeah, there have been attempts, positive attempts.
Okay, that's good to know. And just to round it all up, Southeast Asia has seen relative peace since World War II. To what extent does this conflict, the Thai-Cambodia conflict, provide a ground for proxy contestations between the US and China? And is there any chance that this could transcend into a broader Asian conflict?
Yeah, at present, the Thai-Cambodian conflict is not a proxy battlefield yet. It is still rooted in local and bilateral logics. However, both the US and China have deep strategic stakes in the mainland Southeast Asia, and we are beginning to see subtle alignments. China, for example, has significant influence over Cambodia, not only economically, but also through military cooperation and infrastructure development as well. Thailand, while a treaty ally of the US, is hedging. The US has also shown renewed interest in the Mekong affairs through initiatives of the Mekong-US partnership. If the conflict escalates or overlaps of the broader strategic corridor, such as China's Belt and Road or US naval priorities, external powers may find themselves drawn into the scene, especially through diplomatic posturing or economic leverage, like you have seen President Trump's attempt. Still, I believe Southeast Asia's preference for quiet diplomacy or ambiguity will prevent a broader Asian war. But that does not mean these small-scale conflicts are benign. They are pressure points, testing the resilience of the regional norms and the depth of major power influence in our neighborhood as well. One final remark.
Yes.
Yes, the temples. The temples. These are Hindus, devas. These are Hindus, deva, and I think it's rooted in some kind of the Prime Minister of Cambodia. He thinks that if he gains one castle from Thailand or 3 castles from Thailand, it's going to improve his charisma in terms of politics. In the words of Thai word is barami. Barami, is the bunja barami. You're improving your charisma and people will respect you. In the past, the king of Cambodia, King Sihanouk, in the past, he managed to have one castle at the border, the Seprivihia temple from the ICJ. And I think this time, Prime Minister Hun Sen and to pass the legacy to his son, Hun Manet. I think his son should have 3. So 3 surpasses one of King Sihanouk in the past of the 2 castles from Thailand. This one personal observation of myself.
You're absolutely right. These are old Shiva temples.
Yes.
And there's a lot of talk about, we've all visited these temples. We all feel we feel the spiritual draw from these temples. For us, these are also very important, but you're right. It's very interesting that you've got these very modern battles over ancient Hindu temples in Southeast Asia.
Isn't it a Sanskrit term? Barami. It's a Sanskrit term, right? Barami. Barami is personal charisma.
Is it?
Is it?
You are definitely better on your Sanskrit than I will ever be. So, because I think your language has a derivation from it. So, so this is exciting very much. That is a very profound thought on which to end this discussion. You have opened some ideas, some doors. You've talked about pressure points. And one thing you said, which was very telling, is that it's now time to actually take a resurvey. So you're going to give our listeners a lot of food for thought. And we thank you very much for doing this. And we hope to be able to bring you on for our podcast again. So thank you so very much.
Yes.